program has been provided by CompuPro, manufacturers of computers for business, science, and industry.
Do you use words, facts, or numbers? We all do eventually, and sometimes end up with a desk looking something like this. Well, today we're going to talk about getting rid of some of this mess by using a computer. Computers can help you use words, facts, and numbers more efficiently, more productively, and more creatively. We will start with words and show you how a computer can eliminate the tedium of writing. If you're a busy letter writer, a student, an author, an attorney, or a consultant, you will like what computerized word processing can do to this equipment. Then we'll take a look at facts, generally found in places like this. If you're a fact finder, a filer, a salesperson, a customer service manager, or a research specialist, you'll appreciate the efficiency of computerized record keeping. If you're a numbers person, like a financial analyst, a corporate budget watcher, a program manager, or a business consultant, you'll love what computerized spreadsheet programs can do for a desk that now looks like this. These are the big three of computer programs: word processing, database management, and spreadsheets. More people buy computers to get their hands on one of these applications than any other. Maybe you can use one of them too. I'm Jim Hart, and on Bits, Bytes, and Buzzwords, we'll help you decide. This is computer hardware, the machine itself. But when we talk about how we're going to use this computer, we're talking about computer software programs, and they come generally on little things like this called floppy disks. Well, a software program is a set of step-by-step instructions that tells the computer how to respond to the information you feed it. A word processing program, for instance, lets us use the computer to compose and edit copy. And today we have a guest who's going to show us what a word processing program can do. Julia Ann Arca is the author of 2 books about word processing, and Julie, welcome.
Hi.
All right, let me ask you a question. I've been a journalist for years and been using typewriters, both electric and manual, all that time. What can a word processing program do for me that a regular typewriter can't?
Well, for one thing, it'll take all the tedium out of typing. When you're typing on a typewriter, you're both creating and printing all at the same time. So if you make a mistake,
which I do.
Well, we all do. That's part of being human. You have to go back and erase it, cut it out, do something physical to the piece of paper because you're stuck with it. A word processing program, on the other hand, it separates creating, editing from the printing. While you're creating, you're just working on the video screen. It's nowhere else, and you can make as many changes as you want. Once you like it, that's when you can print a perfect copy.
All right. Take a novice. Show me what to do. How does it work?
Okay, well, what we have on the screen here is we have part of a word processing program. Outlined in this white square here is the actual document. It's our blank page that we filled up with a few paragraphs here. Okay. The top 4 lines here are what we call a help menu in a lot of type of computer programs. It tells you what you can and you can't do. Some of the important keys are the left and right arrows, which let us erase. And there's a certain special computer key called the escape key. And that lets us escape to another part of the program where we'll find other things up there in the help menu that we can do.
All right. Now, tell me how to do it.
One of the first things you would probably do as you're typing along, you realize immediately you don't like the word, so you want to back up and retype it. Well, that's all you do in word processing. You can use the left arrow key on your word processor, and let's back up. And now we can just type in the word we want. We've erased that, so go ahead and type in, say, the word bounce.
Bend is gone, bounce is in.
Right. And you can do that every time you realize you just typed the wrong word. You just back up, it goes away, and you type in a new word.
All right.
Now, sometimes after you've typed something and you're a little farther along, what you realize is that you left out a character, you left out a word you really wanted to insert, and that's another big feature of word processing. So insert isn't on this menu, so we have to press escape.
Here, okay.
And
now we're up at the top.
We've got a whole other set of things that we can do up at the top of the screen here. So now you'll also know in the right-hand corner, there's a set of arrows telling us which way we can move the cursor and which keys we use. So to move left, we want to use the J key.
I want to put a word right in there.
Right. Now we can go back to the writing mode.
By punching escape?
Right.
Okay.
And press the space bar and type in a word.
Okay.
Right. And that's how easy it is.
Wonderful. I love it.
So far, even with just those two features, you'd be pretty well ahead. But sometimes you realize you really need to cut and paste. You've got to take the paragraph from where it is, and you really want to put it someplace else.
Okay, how do we do that?
Well, the first thing we need to do is find some command that'll let us move. So that's on the other menu. And you'll see that right next to erase, up at the top of the screen, is the word move. Right.
Very good.
We decide we want to move, so we press return to select that function. And now it tells us to place the cursor at the beginning character. So move the J key, use the J key.
I bet you could get at punching buttons real fast.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I want to start. I want to move that paragraph.
So press return to say this is where I want to start. Now it tells you to put the cursor, that little white blinking line there, at the bottom. So press E for end. So we'll go to the end of this. And it highlights that. That says this is the paragraph I'm going to cut out. Now press return again. And it says, now put the cursor where you want it to be, where you want the paragraph to appear.
Okay, I want to put it up here at the very top.
Okay. So that's where you want it to be. Press return.
Okay.
And it automatically cuts it out and puts it where you want it.
I see.
And it says, is that okay there? And say yes.
Yes or no, and you punch Y for yes.
Right.
Love shorthandedness. I love it.
Right. So you don't have to do any extra typing that you
All right,
don't
I
want
tell you
to.
what, I've been looking at that joke long enough, and I've decided I don't even like it. Can I get rid of it?
Sure, you can do it in just a few easy steps, too. Now, you've got the erase command up there in the upper left already highlighted, so press return, say, I want to erase.
Okay.
And it says, where do you want it to start?
That's where I want to start, right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, we want to move down and highlight each one of those lines.
Oops.
Whoop, you can just use M and
M.
move down. There
Wonderful.
you go. Now, press return. It says, are you really sure you want to do this?
Yes, I'm really tired of it.
Oh, okay, get rid of it.
And it's gone.
And that's it.
All right, after I've decided I've got exactly what I want on the screen, how do I then get that in my hand? I mean, I can't carry this thing around with me.
No, what you need to do is you want to print it. And you have a lot of flexibility in the ways you want to print it. You can set all the margins, the left and right margins. You can have indentations in the paragraphs. You can decide how long your paper is. You can have page numbers, not have page numbers, decide where you want page numbers. It's all very flexible about how you want to format it, which means how is it going to look when you print it.
And then finally, you just print it, and
Right.
it comes out just like you want.
Comes out on a piece of paper, and you're ready to mail it off.
Julie, I read some computer material every once in a while, and I see there's a lot of programs like
Oh,
this,
yeah.
word processing programs. Are they all the same, or what's the difference?
They all do the same basic types of things. They edit your document some way, inserting and deleting, and they let you print it some way, because those are the two basic functions of word processing. But they all have some kind of little specialty. Some have a lot of different ways to do editing. Some have a lot of different ways to print it out, where you may want special formats that most people just really don't care for.
Well, how do you decide, and what do you pay for something like this?
Well, you decide based on the kind of writing you do. If you have very simple word processing needs, you just want to type a letter to your friends and you just want to print a letter to your friends, you're probably in the $100 range. If you have very special needs, perhaps scientific engineering notation, or a lot of capability to do formatting of the finished document because maybe you want to use that and put it into a book, you'll probably spend more in the $300 to $600 range.
Are there add-ons that you can get later?
Oh, yeah, there are a lot of different programs that can plug in to different word processing programs to make them a little more flexible.
Like what?
Like spelling programs.
What's that?
Well, we found that after you proofread maybe 10 pages, almost nobody can really catch all the misspellings. So there are programs that actually have 20 to 60,000 word dictionaries. And once you've typed your document, you can tell the spelling checker program to go through and match all the words in your documents to its dictionary. If it finds any that are misspelled, it'll let you know.
Okay, are hardware considerations important? We've been talking about software mostly.
Right. There's probably the most basic and most important one is probably the printer, because obviously you want it to look a certain way once you've got it finished and edited. If you're a home user, it doesn't really matter what it looks like, you just have to be able to read it. You can probably use a dot matrix printer, which can be $600 up to about $1,500. If it's very important that people feel that a human being typed this, if you're an attorney, say, then you'll need a letter quality printer around in the $3,000 range.
I assume, just my own experience, I like to work with my own typewriter.
Right.
And I assume that that's a consideration in a software program, is who's going to use it.
It's very important, particularly because these programs are all so different in the way they do things. If you're just using the program yourself, then what you need to do is decide which program do I like after you've tried it out. If it's a business situation where you have maybe 5 or 10 people who will use it occasionally, or you have a big turnover in staff, you should find a fairly simple program with these kinds of help menus.
It won't create a lot of problems.
Right, so that you can sit them down, explain 2 or 3 commands, and they can get right to work.
Again, what would be the cost that you could expect to pay for a software program, word processor?
In a very simple program with simple editing, simple printing, I would say $500 to $150. Real business programs will start around $300 and go up to maximum about $600.
Julie, thank you so much for being here with us. It's fascinating. I want one of these.
Oh, I love them.
Word processing lets you mix and match your words until you come up with the combination you like. You could call it word crunching. But what if you want to mix and match facts to produce information? How many of your customers have, say, purchased more than $2,000 worth of products? Which of your patients is due for an annual physical? Which of your record albums includes, say, a version of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony? Does anyone in your address book live in Ohio? Do you know the answers to those questions? How quickly can you find out? Maybe it means flipping through a Rolodex or an index card filing system. Maybe it means going through file cabinets and tediously cross-referencing information, and you'd probably come up with the answers 3 days too late. You might need a database management program. You can call it a record-keeping system. The first thing you do when you set up a filing system is to decide, of course, what you want to file. And in my computer here, I file some jokes so that I could find the right one when I needed it. My jokes are my database. The next step is to decide how you want to file your information. You can do it alphabetically, chronologically, maybe by topic. Every database program lets you design a standard form that includes blanks for each piece of information. Now, I want to be able to look for a specific joke, jokes that include certain elements, or jokes about specific topics. So, my form, which is on the screen here, includes the name of a joke, the main topic, some key elements, and then the bottom half of the screen will be the joke itself. Well, once I've designed this form, I've filled out one for each joke. Each completed form then is called a record. Now, I'm ready to use my database. I can look for a certain joke by typing in its name, topic, or the element. Suppose I need a car joke. Well, I can simply type in the word car under topic, and my program brings all my car jokes to the screen, one at a time. Bought a car with the defective brakes last week. Salesman told me, "You'll love this car. There's no stopping it." Let's see what else we got. Second one, I have a wonderful car, comes with 2 shock absorbers, me and my wife. Try one more. This car is so old, the clock on the dashboard is a sundial. My program has a report generator, which is a fancy way of saying that I can get printed copies of information in the files, and I can get lists of the jokes in any order I decide. Those jokes I'll pass up on printing. You know, everyone's recording needs, though, are different. At home, you might want to keep track of perhaps your Christmas card list or record the purchase dates of all your major appliances. For those kind of records, you probably only need to recall records by 1 or 2 key words. You may not even need to print those reports. If that's the extent of your filing system needs, you can probably buy a program in the $50 to $100 range. At the office, your record-keeping needs can be much more complicated. You'll spend more time picking the right program, and you'll probably end up spending between $300 and $1,000. It might be a good idea for you to hire a consultant to help you pick the right program. If you buy one that's too simple, it'll never do all the things you wanted it to do, and if you buy one that's too complex, you may never be able to figure out how to use it. A consultant can help you find the right program and can even design your record and report forms once you buy it. Then you're all set to start filing. With a sophisticated database program, you can get the kind of information that took your marketing research staff weeks to compile. Buying the right software is your first priority, and one other thing, be sure to figure out how many records you want to store. If you have fewer than 1,000 records, you might be able to store them on a floppy disk system like this. If you have more, or if you expect to add a lot of records in the next year or so, you should definitely consider buying a hard disk, more expensive. Database management programs won't replace all the paper we seem to collect, but they will help us find facts more quickly and make better use of them. make decisions based on numbers. We decide to buy or not to buy based on the balance of our checkbook or sometimes the best guess of that balance. We use numbers to decide when to buy a new house, take a new job, or add a new employee. We push numbers around a spreadsheet until we come up with an acceptable bottom line. Well, computerized spreadsheets can help us do the pushing, and we have an expert here to talk about this financial tool. Herb Gottlieb is a CPA and a software consultant. Welcome, Herb.
Thank you.
First of all, what is a spreadsheet?
Well, very simply, if you look at our example, a spreadsheet is made up of columns and rows of information, both numbers and words, as you can see.
Mm-hmm. How do we use it?
Well, we can add columns of numbers if we want to, or we can subtract rows of numbers if we want to.
Mm-hmm.
We can perform calculations on the numbers on the spreadsheet.
We've set up a kind of a household budget there that may or may not be realistic, but how does a computerized spreadsheet differ from one like you set up here?
Well, the ease of changing a worksheet or changing your numbers becomes simply the push of a button with a computer. Whereas with a manual piece of paper, you need to erase and get out your adding machine and re-add. With a computer, all we need to do is merely change some numbers. For example, we could change any one of our budget numbers here and have our total and our savings automatically change accordingly. Same thing would be true of our actual. We could change any one of our numbers and have our automatic calculation tell us how much money we could save or how much money we had to take, in this case, from our savings every month.
Okay, we have a medium-sized computer here. We've got an inspired amateur operator in me. Let's transfer that to this and see what we can, you show me what we can do with it.
Well, most of the worksheet we had here on the example is on the screen now. And if we look at our column B, which is the second column over, we see that we're actually spending more money than we're making in this particular month, and we're going to have to dip into our savings for $251 if we spend what we said we wanted to.
Okay, how can I change that around if I don't want to dip into my savings?
Well, if you look at your cursor, which right now is on the fund line, you may want to change your fund. Maybe you don't want to spend quite that much money on fund.
Not feeling too good this month,
No.
so I just type in a new number.
Just type a new number in.
Okay, instead of $521, let's make it $300.
And then hit return. All right, now you see, well, you're down to only taking $30 out of your savings account as a result of that.
Well, I can see something else in that budget that's not very realistic, at least for people like me, and that is I have teenage children, and $85 a month is just not going to do it for food.
Well, just type in a new number.
New number, all right.
And hit the return. And now you see that you are spending $445 more than what you're making.
Aha.
You're still in trouble here.
All right, how can I solve that? How about a pay raise?
This sounds like a great idea. Let's move down the pay raise. And well, what would you like your salary to be?
Well, I want to get out of the hole.
Realistic. All right, let's go to 2,000. That's good.
All right.
All right, now you see, that's a pretty nice budget, in fact, for a household.
All done instantly.
Yeah, and the changes were all done.
Okay, that's the budget.
All right.
What about my actual expenditures?
Well, why don't we move the cursor over to rent? And let's just start putting in your actual numbers.
All right. Rent was $500.
All right, you have a pretty small apartment, I take it. Okay.
So I want to go down, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
All right.
All right.
Utilities,
Well, this is summertime, so.
summertime, high air conditioning bill.
All right.
Okay.
There you go. Now, you'll see what you're doing is you keep going down. If you move down another one, you see the variance column over here on the right. And that's automatically calculating how much more or less you spent than what you said you were going to spend. So now your auto, put something in for your auto expense.
Well, auto, I don't know whether you can get by for $50.
All right. You're going to drive a lot this month.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's say I bought some new clothes.
All right. There you go. And how much did you spend on fun?
Well, I was sicker than I thought, and I probably got to looking at my...
All right. Now we're going to have to go down and put your pay in. How much did you get paid that month? Did you get the $2,000 that you were dreaming on?
Yes, we did.
Oh, good. All right, now you see, the computer's automatically done all this calculation for you. It said that instead of saving the $355 that you wanted to, you're only going to save $69 this month.
Okay, I have a blank space right over here. What's wrong?
Well, we haven't done that calculation yet. I left that blank for you to do right here on the screen.
What do I do?
So let's get our cursor over to that space. And we want that to be the difference between our total budget and our total actual. So let's just put in a formula that says that.
Very good.
And hit a bracket.
Okay.
Now I want you to type in B14 minus C14. And the B14 and C14 simply refer to the coordinates that we're subtracting, the B14 and C14. So now hit return. And as you see, you have a calculation made for you which tells you that you spent $286 more this month than you had budgeted.
Aha, okay. This, I would assume, is a pretty simple operation for a computer. What about a more complicated calculation that might be applicable to a small business?
Okay, well, we actually have one in there. And if you'll go through the process of clearing the screen and calling it up, I'll talk about it a little bit. We have a budget in here for a business that has sales and manufacturing and labor costs, and we've actually calculated the labor costs to be a percentage of sales. And we have returns, which are a percentage of sales, too. And here's our sheet. And we're looking at 20,000 in sales, and if we look down the material, well, that's a 15% of sales.
What's returns?
Returns would be somebody returned a good to you. It was a damaged good, or it was a bad good, or they just wanted a refund.
So you can figure a certain percentage is always going to be.
And we've actually
more
used,
or less
if you look at the screen, a 2% return factor.
Okay. Now, what can I do with this?
Well, let's just pretend like your factory burned down, or you had to close up business for a month because of a flood.
Okay.
Let's make your sales 0 then.
So at that point where the cursor is, I just punch a
hit a
0
0
in
and hit return. Now you see that if we did no business at all, no sales, that our cost would be $2,510 a month.
We wouldn't have any returns, though, would we?
No, we wouldn't have any returns. No.
All right, let's restore
Let's go back to
sales
20,000.
and try another.
That's good.
All right.
We have a working business now.
Okay. Let's say I want to go down here and add a lot of overhead.
Okay.
Big advertising campaign.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
All right, $15,000.
Sounds great.
Almost all of your sales.
Yeah. Okay, now you see you've automatically calculated again. All these changes have made for you, and you have a $2,610 loss for the first 6 months of the year.
Okay. But at the end of the year, it still figures you're going to have a profit.
Yeah.
All right.
It's still showing us
I
profit.
want to try another thing.
Go ahead.
If I go up here and say that during the next 6 months, as the result of this $15,000 that I spent in advertising, I get a big sales increase.
I would hope so.
Okay, let's say we made $50,000.
That's great.
Okay.
And you see that, again, it automatically calculated your profit in the following 6 months. And your year-to-date profit was automatically changed for you.
Okay, now you showed me how to set up a calculation. Some of these are a little more sophisticated, though.
That's true.
How do you set up a spreadsheet like this now?
Well, let's move down to the returns right there, right below your sales there, which is a percentage of sales. And if we look at the upper left-hand portion of our screen near the center, we see 0.02 and a little star and then C4. And what that simply says is that that number there is 2% of what is in C4, which is the sales. So let's say that your returns, instead of being 0.02, were 0.015.
Okay, how do I do
So
that?
why don't you type in point?
Do I have to put brackets?
No, you don't. Not this time.
0.015.
0.015. And then the star, okay, C4. And then hit return. And we see that the calculator has automatically been changed now to be 0.015 of our sales figure of 50,000.
Okay, what if your labor costs go up?
Okay, let's move down to labor.
All right.
All right, looking at our labor right now, we're looking at a 20% labor figure.
0.2.
Yeah, 0.2 if you look at the top of the screen.
Let's say that I can make some minor savings and get it down to 18%.
Okay, well, why don't we just type that in? Let's type in 0.18 times C4. Again, we're using C4 again because that's the sales and that's what our labor is based on. And you can see exactly what happens to your bottom line if your labor was only 0.18 instead of 0.2.
Let me ask you if all of these spreadsheets are alike in terms of what they can do and how much they cost.
No, they're not. There's actually a large range of spreadsheets, and they range in price from $99 all the way up to $700, and some of them are even $1,000. And the difference has become the complexity of the calculations that you could make on the spreadsheet. For example, the more expensive spreadsheets would do chemical calculations. They would do cosine work for you.
So a person looking for household management, a small business with a few employees could get by on as little as $100 or $200
Oh, sure.
with a software program.
Definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
What about hardware considerations now? We're dealing with a small computer here. This is not going to run U.S. Steel.
No, it's not at all. And your hardware considerations, again, would be related to the size of the worksheet that you wanted to work on at any one given time. If you were working with a spreadsheet that was very, very large, you might need more than the 64K RAM that most machines are having today.
64K RAM is 64,000 bytes of information.
Approximately 64,000. Actually,
Characters.
Yeah, characters of information. Actually, a byte is a K is 1,024 bytes,
Right.
but we use 1,000 as a round figure.
And what could we expect to pay for a machine to handle this at home and for a small business?
Well, a machine they handle at home could cost as little as $1,500, I'm sure. Easily could handle a relatively easy spreadsheet program. And in businesses, well, if you get real large spreadsheets, you're going to need more memory capacity. You could be spending as much as $15,000 or even $20,000 for the machine.
Very good. Herb, it's been very clear, very informative, and in some cases entertaining. Thank you so much for being with us.
It's been a pleasure.
The big three of the software world: word processing, database management, and spreadsheet analysis. With these three types of programs, you can satisfy most of your computer dreams. Word processing lets you play word games, database management systems let you play information games, and spreadsheet programs let you play number games. And you can play them faster, more accurately, and more professionally, as long as you buy the program that matches your needs. Once you buy the right program, buying the right hardware will be a snap. I'm Jim Hart. Join me next time on Bits, Bytes, and Buzzwords when we show you ways to computerize your accounting system.
For your copy of the book, Bits, Bytes, and Buzzwords, call 1-800-821-1000. The book is designed to complement this series and is available for $7.95 plus postage and handling. For your copy, call toll-free 1-800-821-1000.